problems. That guy, he just has to touch you once.
Shit's going down.
He's so different than anybody else in the division. Like, he knocks everybody out. Everybody hits hard. They all hit hard.
But
that
shit
fucking
down.
dude hits hard.
That Jake Paul can come 15-20% in regards to Anthony Joshua. He's a completely different specimen. Look, you'll see what it looks like when they stand next to each other.
Joe Rogan has finally broken his silence on Anthony. Joshua's intense new training footage for the rumored showdown with Jake Paul, his reaction couldn't be clearer. After watching clips of Joshua blasting through explosive combos with elite coaches, Rogan described the former heavyweight king as absolutely terrifying, warning that Jake may have bitten off more than he can possibly talk his way out of this time, with Joshua suddenly looking sharper, faster, and far more vicious than he has in years. Rogan believes this matchup could end brutally and in a heartbeat if Jake Paul truly dares to enter that ring.
Need to get stronger.
Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua clash is officially set to be a fully sanctioned professional heavyweight fight under classic Queensberry rules. The two will go 8 rounds, each lasting 3 minutes, wearing mandatory 10-ounce gloves. Joshua must hit the scales at no more than 245 pounds, a strict limit meant to keep the contest somewhat balanced. And because this is a real professional bout, the result will be permanently added to each man's career. Record there's nothing exhibition about it.
Bout. This is going on people's records. AJ gotta take him serious because this isn't some exhibition. We're running out some judges to act like there's a decision and someone won. No, someone's gonna win, someone's gonna lose here. It's 8 rounds, 3-minute rounds. Again, heavyweight pro bout, 10-ounce gloves. AJ talking about breaking internets over faces. I think he meant to say breaking his face on the internet. Who knows? Maybe you can do both in the big 2025. But then you have the weight limit, 245 pounds, and people are automatically going to go, oh, God, here's the thing. Oh, here's the thing in the contract. No, stop all that. And I'm going to go on a rant in a second for all the people that thought this was fake, for all the people that thought that Jake wouldn't do this, for all the people that thought he was scared. I'm going to go on that rant in a second. But, okay, yes, 245 is a weird number because Jake has already fought at heavyweight. He fought Mike Tyson at 220-something. But again, I understand it a little bit. We're on short notice here. You don't want to have a Tyson Fury type situation, which AJ would never be 290 coming in here. But 260, 270, it starts to get out of the realm of possibility of like, what are we doing here? Even though heavyweight has no limit, I get it.
Nisabid, CEO of Most Valuable Promotions and Jake Paul's top promoter, told Sky Sports that the December 19th showdown with Anthony Joshua is shaping up to be a massive global spectacle. While acknowledging Joshua's deeper experience, she insisted Jake's wild, uncheckable self-belief could become a surprising X-factor. Bedarian called the fight a symbolic collision of two worlds and revealed that their team rushed through negotiations at lightning speed to lock things in, ensuring strict weight rules and genuine professional conditions for a high-stakes battle. She also argued that this matchup is far less lopsided than Joshua's previous fight with Francis Ngannou, noting that although Ngannou was physically huge, he lacked the true boxing background Paul has been rapidly developing, making this fight far more competitive.
Wait, will there be a limit for Joshua?
So there's a lot of discussion around the weight. Joshua fought Usyk twice. Both of those times Usyk was 221 pounds. Joshua was 240 to 245. When Jake fought Mike Tyson last year, 227 pounds. I expect Jake will come in anywhere between 225 and 230, and Anthony Joshua has a weight limit of 245 pounds.
There will be those, as you're aware, that will look at it and criticise this fight. There already have been, haven't there? They'll say it's a real mismatch. What would you say to them? Are we going to be watching sport at its purest?
I would say it's much less of a mismatch than what you saw with AJ and Francis Ngannou, who a massive man, but relatively no boxing experience. I would say it's much less of a mismatch than AJ's 9th or 10th fight against guys who've been knocked out 20 to 25 times. Given AJ's pedigree, Jake is built for this. Jake is built for the big moments. So do I think it's dangerous for Jake Paul? Absolutely. Do I think it's also dangerous for Anthony Joshua?
According to numerous boxing analysts, Jake Paul is gambling with his safety by stepping in against Anthony Joshua. Former cruiserweight champion Lawrence Okolie has warned that Joshua's enormous size and devastating power turned this fight into a genuine health concern for Paul. Meanwhile, two-time world champion David Benavidez bluntly stated that Paul is walking straight into a deadly trap, facing a man with years of experience at the absolute highest level of the sport.
100% respect to Jake Paul, but that's a dangerous fight for him. He probably gets knocked out, and I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm not saying nothing bad, but Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua. You know, he's multiple-time champion, Olympic gold medalist. You know what I mean? The last time somebody stepped in the ring with him that didn't have that much boxing experience was Ngannou, and you've seen what happened to him. But big respects to Jake Paul. It's gonna be a good card. You know what I mean? It's a big fight. And it's a good fight, man. I give 100% respect to Jake Paul for even taking that fight.
The Ring 4, November 22nd. Watch only on DAZN.
Carl Froch has openly criticized Anthony Joshua's decision to take the Jake Paul fight, suggesting that AJ might simply be cashing out tanned. He doesn't think the suspicion is unfair. Froch argues that with Joshua already wealthy and having tasted championship glory, he appears more driven by financial gain than by preserving a legendary career, with nothing major left to prove in traditional boxing. Froch believes Joshua is opting for the easiest big money route by stepping into a crossover matchup like this.
We've got to consider, is AJ cashing out? Well, I did say a year ago when he got splattered by Daniel Dubois that he's finished now. He won't get that confidence back. He's not had any confidence, you know, in his head. No belief for a long time. And I don't think he can get back to world level. There's a couple of new young guns now coming up and coming through. It's like a changing of the guard. And when Usyk retires, I don't know what Daniel Dubois is going to do next, but what Daniel Dubois did to him, then he went on and lost to Usyk. But there's a few new heavyweights coming through, Moses Atalma, just to mention one. And you wouldn't start putting AJ in with any of these young up-and-comers that can punch hard, because I just don't think he's got the chance, because the ambition and the desire is going to be gone. So AJ most definitely is cashing out, and you can't fault him. Fair play to him. He's going to get a massive payday, maximise his exit route.
Surprisingly, some boxing fans believe Jake Paul actually stands a chance of beating Anthony Joshua, and they're putting their faith in his punching power. Despite beginning as a YouTuber, Paul has shown real knockout force, dropping and stopping several opponents. Tyson Fury even predicted Paul could knock Joshua out, praising Jake's growing size and power as a heavyweight. Paul himself keeps repeating that Joshua's chin is unreliable, claiming that one clean, perfectly timed punch could flip the whole fight early.
You think he can win, Jake Paul?
I think it's a possibility. No one is backing Jake Paul currently. You've seen him in the ring, you can see that he's got some knockout power. And I also believe people don't look at Joshua's last few fights. And I don't think it's going to be as big of a landslide as people feel. I feel like there's an overhand right that could easily land, and I wouldn't predict that Joshua's chin can last that. The problem is that all of the pressure's on Joshua at the moment. So Jake Paul, if he gets knocked out in 12 seconds, he should get knocked out. The problem is, as soon as Joshua starts taking damage, all of a sudden he's thinking, the world is watching me, I'm a professional fighter, and I'm getting beat off a YouTuber. All of the pressure is in Joshua, and that's a lot that can weigh on a man. You can't deny that Jake Paul has power. I think it's one of his only attributes. I think he's a very poor boxer, but what he does have is a weird technique where you don't know what
he's got power. How do we know he's got power?
He's knocked people out. Joshua has all of the world looking at him thinking you should walk him over. If it gets 2 rounds, 3 rounds inside, I think Joshua loses.
Many people are describing this as a true David versus Goliath battle. Jake Paul, who built his fame through social media and lighter-weight boxing bouts, is stepping up to face Anthony Joshua, towering heavyweight giant with championship pedigree and massive physical advantages. Joshua's power, size, and experience clearly cast him as Goliath, while Paul, the underdog, is relying on pure heart, hunger, and courage to somehow close that enormous gap.
Judge Anthony Joshua for getting the bag, as the kids say, for going to wherever the fight's going to take place and taking $92 million for going up against Jake Paul, right? You can't give him for that. You can't judge him for that. But don't try and tell me that this is a real professional boxing contest. I'm saying my guess is that this will be an exhibition matchup. And if it is, it'll be one hell of a show. And I'll certainly tune in. And fair play to both men because they're making an absolute goddamn killing. But what is going on? Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. It's a lose-lose for Joshua. It's a win-win.
A major concern surrounding Joshua's matchup with Jake Paul is his lack of activity in recent years, with only 2 fights over the past 2 seasons. After losing by split decision to Alexander Usyk in 2022, Joshua's schedule slowed down. He defeated Robert Helenius in August, beat Otto Wallen in December 2023, and then knocked out Francis Ngannou in March 2024. But overall, his recent ring time has been limited.
Anthony Joshua is his activity. He's only fought twice in 2 years, and one of them he got knocked out of Daniel Dubois. That was his last fight, and a lot of people say you can only judge a fighter's quality from their last fight. And then the fight before that was a win, but it was a win against Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou, if you know, he was the UFC heavyweight who's not a real boxer, and he only had 1 fight before that boxing fight, what he lost as well. So that's his activity in boxing. Now Jake Paul, on the other hand, looking at his box rec, he's had 6 fights since 2023, and one of them was against Mike Tyson. But we all seen what happened in that fight. Mike Tyson was well past his prime. Where Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, is, well, I'm not going to say he's coming into his prime because he had some great wins earlier on in his career before he lost to Usyk twice. And by the way, when he did lose to Usyk, the last one was a split decision. It was a pretty close fight. So now this fight is matched, and I just want to look at the tail of the tape. Now, looking at the age difference, we've got 28 years old compared to 36 years old. So I guess the advantage there goes a little bit towards Jake Paul. 28-year-old is better than a 36-year-old, but that being said, we've got talking about experience and everything else, what comes with being 36 years old at Anthony Joshua's level. And then, like I mentioned, the heavyweights kind of seem to prime a little bit older. They'll come down to the height and the weight. This is the big one. 6'1" versus 6'6". 200 pound versus 252 pound. We got a 252 pounder in Anthony Joshua. The reach advantage is a lot, which we would expect. Amateur fights, we can see that Jake's only had 1, where AJ's had 43, but 43 of them are including at the highest level, Olympic level. And yes, he won the Olympic bloody gold medal, if I don't need to remind you. Now, in the pro record, Jake Paul has had 13 fights, lost 1. AJ has had 28 fights and he's lost 4 with 25 KOs.
So what's your take? Is Anthony Joshua making a smart move, chasing a massive payday against Jake Paul? Or is he putting his hard-earned legacy on the line for a risky gamble? Share your thoughts below.